What does it mean to be an American? Well, the First Amendment covers 5 different rights that allow us to express ourselves as Americans. Those are the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the right to assemble, freedom of the press, and the right to petition.
The right to petition, known as the Petition Clause, allows Americans to pose any issues they have with the government or any situation. Edwards v. South Carolina was a Supreme Court case where 187 black students protested South Carolina's laws restricting their rights. The police showed up at the protest demanding that they disperse, even though their protest was peaceful. When the crowd didn't obey, the police arrested them and convicted them of breaching the peace. Edwards won the Supreme Court case after it was ruled that South Carolina infringed upon their freedom to petition.
The congressman saying the law, among other things, hindered African Americans to protest publicly about the unfair treatment and the effects of segregation that was felt throughout the South. The then 21-year-old was just one of the students selected to help lead the march. They marched from the front steps of the church all the way to the State House. Within hours, they were arrested, spending days in jail.
King Small v. Wink was a Supreme Court case where a veteran named Wink protested the government's involvement in Iraq in front of a military recruitment center at the King's Mall. Several residents called the police and Wink was arrested. King's Mall won the case after the Supreme Court ruled that the protesters were petitioning on private property.
Throughout the last couple of years, students at Fishers High School have participated in 2 petitions. The first was the Herff Jones petition. A student named Noah Alderton bought a graduation cap and gown from Amazon instead of from Herff Jones because it was significantly cheaper. The school refused to allow Noah to walk in response to this. Noah's friend Matthew Picard decided to start a petition for Noah.
So the Herff Jones petition was about the discrepancy in graduation robe prices of what the school was charging and what could be found on Amazon. So we thought it was unfair that students had to pay so much more for graduation robes to walk at Fishers when much cheaper alternatives could be found on Amazon. So actually Noah was used kind of as a face for the movement because he was unable to walk because he didn't buy a robe. And so we actually weren't able to help Noah in the end because he didn't end up walking. The policy stayed the same, but the robe prices based on the contract changed, and so that impact was made. And Noah was a huge factor in that.
Noah Alderton could walk in graduation, but he would have had to wear the gown that everybody else did. Noah chose not to walk because he didn't want to wear the gown. And so when you look at, graduation itself, it is not something that all students are required to participate in. So we certainly could have that choice. But when we do it, there are certain expectations that we have. One is that you attend rehearsal, and the second thing is that our school board and our community expects a uniform appearance to our graduates, and so we expect everybody to wear the same gown.
The second petition was the nationwide school walkout. The students who were protesting left their classes on March 14, 2018 at 10 a.m. They all walked out of their school buildings and stood for 17 minutes of silence, showing respect for the 17 people who died in the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, Florida. The students silently petitioned against gun violence in the U.S.
And we decided that it would be a great opportunity to show Fishers students doing what we wanted to do, showing our voice, showing our free speech. So I got up at the time that we were supposed to out of class and I walked out. I was actually one of the first ones out, so I got a lot of good footage of everyone walking out, getting their wristbands. And yeah, we just enjoyed those minutes of just quiet and being peaceful. And I honestly walked out because I just wanted to show that I could stand up for my free speech and I could demonstrate that. I don't think there should have been a consequence, just because it's a right to express yourself. But he definitely stressed that if you did walk out, you should be doing more than just walking out, writing letters to your representatives, senators, whatnot, and also participating other actions other than just walking out. to show that you're passionate about it.
And it was one of the few, I would say, political national issues where I saw a large scale of student advocacy, which, let's be honest, in our modern political system, we suffer from a lot of apathy from especially our youngest voters and our youngest generation. And so to have students engage, I was very excited about. Now, obviously, in running a school and the idea of students getting up out of class and walking out of class, there's some issues with that. And certainly we were upfront with the students who prior to and said, you know, while we applaud your advocacy, getting up and walking out of class does pose a substantial disruption to the school day. And it also opens a forum to all sorts of political protests during the school day. And so we took the stance of, hey, I understand why. We applaud you for that, but there will be a consequence to getting up and walking out of class. I was very impressed with the organization, and a lot of times you think, okay, students, why are students protesting? Well, a lot of them probably just want to get out of class. No, the students who organized, and it was all student run, which was awesome, and it was very on message, very meaningful, and very, very appropriate, I thought.
So what does it mean to be an American? Being an American gives us the freedom of practicing our right to petition. We are able to stand up for our rights without interference, so stand up for your beliefs and practice your right to petition.